Hey there, guys. Volcarona Gamer here, and well, I really haven't posted a video for a while, let alone a Pokemon video. So, I thought I'd do that now. Um, this was a Halloween themed battle that I had with my friend today. Like we just finished it, so I'm just gonna hop it up. So, these are our two teams. Um, so as you can see, we share three Pokemon that are the same. We both have a Zoroark, we both have a Mimikyu, and we both have a Crobat. And the main thing that's going to determine things are our three Pokemon that differentiate. I'm pretty scared of the Chandelure because of its ability to threaten basically everything on my team because I don't really have a switch into it except my Spadef Mega Sableye. But even then, I can't Will-O-Wisp it. If he switches into a Will-O-Wisp, he gets Flash Fire Boost, and that's even scarier because he can like burn through my Crobat. My Crobat gets like O-Code. We both the Zoroark's going to be interesting. It's going to cause some mind games, which can determine the fate of the match. And we he has his Mega is Mega Bandit, but I'm not really afraid of that. Once I burn it, that thing's history. All I have to do is stall it out. Destiny Bomb won't work. It won't do any good damage, and it can't taunt Mega Sableye, so I'm not really worried. And I have two big physical walls, which are my Gourgeist and my Cofagrigus. Both die to a Chandelure, which is why I gotta get rid of that before those two can be used without the risk of being O-code by a powerful Shadow Ball, which is Life Orb because his Chandelure is Life Orb. So I'm gonna get into that battle. So here we go. I'm just gonna turn the music here. All right, so he leads with his Mimikyu. I wasn't expecting that, but it's good because I led with my Sableye. Now, first turn, I make kind of an obvious play. So he goes into Chandelure predicting the Will-O-Wisp, which I did. I didn't go Mega because I wanted to get rid of that Mimikyu's offensive power as soon as possible. So I have to switch because he's going to Okomi or do massive damage with a flamethrower. So I have to sack off a Mon. So it's going to be Crobat. So yeah. Stab, Flash Fire, and Life Orb. Crobat's gone immediately. And now I send back in my Illan. But is it actually Illan? It might not. It might not be. Yes, turned out I tricked him. It was my Zoroark, so I was able to get rid of that massive threat. But here is, I think this was the Zoroark. Yeah, I sent in Gourgeist. Yeah, he goes for Dark Pulse. I knew I had to sack off another Mon, but oh well. Sorry, I didn't get to use Gourgeist. I didn't get to use you this battle. But I know this is the Zoroark, so I can send in my Sableye safely since Chandelure is gone. So now I can go Mega. So he goes for Focus Blast. I think he thought it was the Zoroark, but I just get a free knockoff out, and his Zoroark loses its Life Orb, which is going to decrease its power output greatly. So I don't get flinched, and I hit the Willow, and now his Zoroark's on a timer even without Life Orb damage. And I can start recover stalling. So, yeah, he's just gonna hope for a flinch, I think. but his attack really isn't doing anything. Yeah, so I'm just recover stalling here. He's about half. He goes for another Dark Pulse. He's still hoping for a flinch, any sort of hacks, crit, anything. So I'm just going to speed up this stall by going for knockoff because I know it can easily recover next turn. So he switches out because he wants to keep that thing alive, as I thought he would. So he goes into Bandit. And yeah, I went for recover. It was the safest thing. So when he goes Mega, he's going to get his Prankster right away, so I have to keep that in mind. But I have Magic Bounce, so Taunt, which I think this thing can run, doesn't do anything. So I use Protect to Scout. See what he's going to do for a turn. So he goes for Taunt, and I'm protected. And he goes for it again, but Magic Bounce. So now he can't use it again. And I go for a knockoff, which does a huge chunk. That's a bit more than half, I think. But he's not burnt, so he can go for Shadow Claw. It does decent damage, but Willow. And it's the second Pokemon that's been crippled, but this one's crippled even more because, you know, it's a physical attacker. So this isn't very good. Well, he goes for Shadow Claw, hoping for a crit, but nope. Recover. So now he's just birding out. His taunt wears off, but that doesn't really matter since I'm completely immune to his status moves. But he can use Destiny Bond, which is what he does, predicting knockoffs for me to try and finish him off so he can get rid of Sableye. But nope. And when he dies to Will-O-Wisp, he won't take me with him. So all I have to do is play it safe and stall. He knows this, so he's going to switch out and go into the Zoroark. That's the Zoroark since it's low and burnt. Yeah, went for Dark Pulse, but it does even less than what the Bandit was doing. So one knockoff, and yeah, the Zoroark's gone, which is good. Since now I'm the only one who has a Zoroark, so he loses that tricking power. Now here's the actual Mimikyu, and the last big threat I need to worry about. Once Mimikyu is gone, I can basically stall him out with the remainder of my team. So I'm gonna cripple it right away, no matter, even if he was gonna go for a play rough. I was going for Will-O-Wisp, I wasn't taking any chances. And he goes for Swords Dance instead of going for play rough, so he was at neutral there, but unfortunately he misses the play rough. Some RNG right there against him. And I knock off his life orb and his disguise is off. And he's burnt. So he's going to have to set up some Swords Dances if he wants to have any hope of doing damage with Mimikyu. So I go for Recover. I ain't have to since I was still pretty high. I could have attacked or anything like that. But I'm just stalling out at this point. Because that's all I have to do. Wear down this Mimikyu as much as possible. But now he's at +4, so it's just, it is kind of worrisome, but I can check it with my own Zoroark once I get it low enough. Since this thing has decent special defense, so if it's not low enough, it could be it could kill Zoroark. So yeah, or play rough, Sableye's gone, but I'm okay with that. I was Sableye did its job. It got rid of Zoroark. So here's Mimikyu. He misplayed because he thought this was the actual Mimikyu, and he was predicting a Shadow Sneak. But No, and it's my Zoroark, and if you're wondering why that did so much damage, it's because I'm a Choice Specs Zoroark with Trick. I could have done that, but with the power of Dark Pulse, I too killed a specially defensive monster since his was specially defensive. So here comes Slappy. I don't want to die to Destiny Bond. I want to keep Zoroark around. So I go into my Cofagrigus because I can wall the Sting. It's burnt, so Shalcall's not going to do too much. He goes for Destiny Bond, but I can just wait it out as he dies to Will-O-Wisp. This is why you bring a Cleric. So he goes for Taunt, which is a good idea. I go for Will-O-Wisp. I was predicting a switch into his last Pokemon, which is his Crobat. He goes for Shellclaw. It does a bit of damage, but since he's burnt, not so, and I get rid of his Prankster, and I proceed to finish him off with a knockoff. So now both our Megas are down. So all he has is his Mimikyu, which is burnt. And since he switched out, he lost his boosts. So he thought it was actual Mimikyu. So that's the cool thing about Zoroark. It really makes your opponent think. There's a lot of mind games that go around there, and that has helped me prevail through this battle because now his last threat is gone, and all he has left is his Crobat, which is incredibly passive. I'm gonna have no trouble stalling it out. Not with Cofagrigus, since this Crobat does have Taunt and Roost, so I can't Will-O-Wisp it. Which is what I tried to do. Cofagrigus will wall Crobat, but it's not really going to help me in getting rid of it by itself. So he goes for Brave Bird. Yeah, it's not going to do much since I'm physically defensive. So he loses Infiltrator, but none of us were running any subs. So Infiltrator was kind of useless in this battle. And I go for Knockoff, and I get rid of his Black Sludge. So that's going to slow down his recovery. Oh, I believe after this I went for Hex. And Brave Bird did a surprising amount of damage to this physically defensive Pokemon. That is Cofagrigus. So more lefties recovery. Crobat's in yellow, but he's probably going to Roost. So I'm done in the Staller, so I go into Depression. And I think this one was my Zoroark. Yeah. Here's my real Mimikyu. As you'll see, since the Braver is going to break my disguise, revealing that it's the real Mimikyu. Yep. So I decided I'm gonna wrap this up. So I go for my secret little weapon here. My Z move. Yep, this is a Ghostium Z Mimikyu. Decided to put this on the shiny. This is also really cool that this Mimikyu has a cool tech move in Will-O-Wisp. It actually can help against other Mimikyus and just like physical attackers that switch into it, because they usually will be bulky enough to take its moves and then kill it or just wall it out. So it's a cool move to run on Mimikyu. But I'm not at any pluses, so I'm not going to do any significant damage even with a Z move without Sword Dance. So that's what I'm going to do now. He can taunt, which is what he does because he doesn't want me setting up anymore. But now I can just start attacking. And as you see, that's going to do over half. Especially after he goes for Brave Bird. which does a lot of damage, even though I don't think this Crobat had any attack EVs, but he was just going Kamikaze, and I take it as last Pokemon. And that's the match. So, I'm just gonna say this, he could have won this battle. But my Zoroark had him do that misplay with his setup Mimikyu. He should have just attacked. If he had attacked, even with like a Shadow Sneak, he would have broken my illusion, and I haven't calxed how much a +4 Shadow Sneak without a Life Orb does to Zoroark, but I know it will do a lot. But he could have at least damaged my Zoroark. So, yeah. He also let Chandelure die a bit too early. But I tricked him with the Sableye coming back in. He thought he was going to be able to. Well, although that was pretty obvious, since there's no way I would send in my win con bait pretty much against a Flash Fire boosted Chandelure, which I think would do like close to half, if not more than half, on even a Mega Sableye with all those boosts. So, but it was the Zoroark and I revenge killed it. So he did a few Pokemon I was worried about. Mimikyu and the thing was about his team. As soon as I saw it in a team preview when I was battling, I already knew how I was going to win. All I had to do was Will-Wisp the Mimikyu, get rid of the Zoroark, and get rid of the Chandelure, and I win. And that's pretty much what I did in that battle. So I think I played well. He played well for the most part, but he misplays there. But nevertheless, this was a good battle, and I'll be posting again soon. So see you guys. Bye.